Welcome back, friends and visitors. We hope that your weekend was a relaxing one. It is now time for our English Flash News edition, in which we have prepared a translated version of the Albanian news for you in a language that you understand. In today's news, Prime Minister Rama appeared at the High Court twice today in order to attend the sessions against the two Democratic MPs, Ristani and Paloka. The Prime Minister has filed lawsuits against both of them for slander. The first court session was held against the General Secretary of the Democratic Party, Ristani. According to the Prime Minister, now is the time to end what he calls the politics of defamation. The Democratic General Secretary, Ristani, said that the Democratic Party has evidence that the Prime Minister has been involved in criminal activity. The Prime Minister left the court after the session, only to return later for the session against the head of the Democratic Party parliamentary group, Paloka. The proceedings were carried out by the defense lawyers of the two politicians. Rama's lawyer, Enkaleda Muchai, said that the accusations of the Democrats were slanderous, intended to destroy the reputation of the Prime Minister. She said, "The statements are deliberate slander to impinge the integrity of the Prime Minister and the institution that he leads." The legal representative of the head of the Democratic group said that the lawsuit of the Prime Minister is not based upon facts. The lawyer said that Paloka has not expressed his personal opinion, but the opinion of the Albanian opposition. He said, "The statements of the Democratic Party do not refer to the citizen Rama, but to the Prime Minister of the country. As such, the statements express the official attitude of the Democratic Party against the failure of the government in the fight against organized crime." The next session in the case will be held on April 3rd. Doshi and Mark Frroku were both at the prosecution today, and our sources tell us that the conflict between them was quite intense. The MP Doshi had previously said that Frroku was the one who had informed him about a plot that was organized for his assassination. From the prosecution, our journalist informed us that the confrontation between the two MPs was very intense, and that the prosecutors decided to solve the argument by viewing the telephone records of both MPs. After a 3-hour confrontation with Doshi, Mr. Frroku was the first to leave the prosecution. He made the statement that he has no idea why Doshi has involved him in the story. He denied having informed Doshi of any plot. Just like his previous visit, Doshi left the prosecution by the rear exit. He was anticipated by the media, however, who were waiting for him in the back of the building. He declined to make any comment on the case. Sources from the police have told us that Doshi was taken under the protection of the police on Saturday, and that he has been under guard ever since. The former Prime Minister Berisha was the first to appear before the prosecution today in order to testify in the case of Doshi. After his testimony, Berisha made the statement that he is always loyal to the law of Albania. He said, "I came here to appear as a person who is aware of the circumstances of this event, to my testimony in the investigation of the most serious charge in the recent 23 years, the plotted murder of 2 deputies for political purposes. I waited for the invitation of the prosecution in order to be able to contribute to some small degree. What I said there is not for public knowledge, but what I say now is no secret, but a shocking fact. The Prime Minister Rama and the Minister of Interior, Samir Tahiri, knew everything about this case, and they did not say anything about it for 6 months," said Berisha. The Interior Minister Samir Tahiri made a comment about Berisha's visit to the prosecution today. Samir Tahiri remarked, "I am glad that he found the road to the prosecution after 25 years. I hope that this is not the first time he has been there. This time he went there as a witness, but next time he may go as a man accused." Still insisting that the entire scenario concerning the murder of Doshi is made up, Minister Tahiri called the prosecution to close the investigations in a rapid and legal manner. He said, "We have done everything in our responsibility. Now is the time of the prosecution to do its job. I urge the prosecution to end the investigation as soon as possible and to bring all those who made up the whole story before justice," said Minister Tahiri. These statements by the Interior Minister were delivered during an activity that was held in the Police Department Number 1 today. The Democratic Party is preparing for a protest that they intend to hold on March the 12th. The protest is being organized by the Democratic Party in order to demand the resignation of the Assembly Speaker, Ilir Mehta, after he has been accused of ordering the assassination of Tom Doshi and Mahil Fufi. There is no information yet about the way the protest will be organized, but some possibilities have been made public. Given that the protest coincides with the day that the Parliament convenes, the Democrats from across the country, led by their MPs, may gather in the Skanderbeg Square to march to the Parliament. In this way, the protesters intend to be positioned at the entrance of the Assembly, where they will call for Mehta's resignation. Rumors are also circulating about a scenario that could block the exit and entry of the Parliament in order to restrain the Assembly Speaker Ilir Mehta within the building until such time as he resigns. During the time that the protesters will be outside of the Assembly, a number of Democratic deputies will enter the Assembly to convey the message of the citizens to the Assembly Speaker. The Democratic Party has been asking for the resignation of Ilir Mehta since the day that the former Socialist MP Tom Doshi accused him of ordering his murder. Albania's ongoing internal political conflict is having a direct effect on its relations and cooperation with the United States of America. The inaugural meeting of the new Parliamentary Group for Albania-U.S. Friendship was intended to be held at noon today, but it was canceled for reasons that have not been made public yet. The speculation is that the current political turmoil is the cause, and this was backed by the chairman of the new parliamentary group, Pandeli Maiko. He was asked by Ora News about the reason of this cancellation, and he briefly answered that the meeting was canceled and that the current political situation was in fact the reason. Other sources for Ora News suggest that the meeting was not possible because of the absence of the opposition, which has abandoned all parliamentary committees, asking for the resignation of the head of the Assembly Speaker, Ilir Mehta. Ora News has given a full list of the 39 members of this group. The name of Tom Doshi, whose exclusion from the Socialist Party group was applauded by the U.S. Embassy, was in fact on the list. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party has continued their new boycott of the Commission of Law and the Foreign Commission, reaffirming that they will not be part of the discussion on laws if Ilir Mehta does not resign his post. The Vlora City Council has decided to allow paid parking concessions on 24 of their primary and secondary roads. The citizens of Vlora have expressed that they are stunned by this, as the decision was never consulted with the public or with the interest groups. While accepting the fact that the parking spaces must be managed, they feel that the money will just be used to fill the pockets of the local leaders. The municipality of Vlora gave the concession for paid parking on 24 main and secondary roads to the company TIS Holding LLC On Track Innovations. The concession was given with a 15-year contract. Parking a vehicle on these streets will now cost 50 lek per hour. On 13 of the roads, the citizens will be charged between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. As for the 9 roads that are nearest to the main boulevard in the center, the citizens will be charged from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Parking during the nighttime hours will not incur charges. The decision of the Municipal Council was made on February 6th without observing the phase of consultation with the public or with the interest groups. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all the news for this evening. Thank you for watching. Please join us again tomorrow at the same time for more Albanian news in English. Thanks, and have a great evening.